All hell and a little bit of heaven break loose when the Beckford family serves up life, laughs, and legacy in Gloria Bond Clunie's hilarious comedy, Sweetwater Taste, live on stage, January 5th through the 22nd at Orlando Shakes. Call 407-447-1700 or visit Orlando Shakes. All hell and a little bit of heaven break loose when the Beckford family serves up life, laughs, and legacy in Gloria Bond Clunie's hilarious comedy, Sweetwater Taste, live on stage, January 5th through the 22nd at Orlando Shakes. Call 407-447-1700 or visit orlandoshakes.org to order your tickets today.
Hello, and welcome to this Orlando Shakes special presentation on Facebook Live and YouTube, our live-streamed Q&A with some of the creative team of Sweetwater Taste. I'm Douglas Labramos. I am the Managing Director of Orlando Shakes, and tonight, sit back, relax, and learn about some of the people behind the scenes of our latest production of the season, Sweetwater Taste, which kicks off tomorrow night in our Margison Theater here at the Orlando Shakes Theater, the Lounge Shakespeare Center. So we hope you'll join us. Also, we would love for you to join in our conversation tonight from wherever you are. Leave your questions about the production in the comments section, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce you to two members of the creative team of Sweetwater Taste. First, the playwright of Sweetwater Taste. Please welcome Gloria Bond Clunie.
Hello.
Hello, Gloria. It's so nice to see you. It's so nice to have you here in Orlando. Welcome to the City Beautiful.
Thank you so much. It is the City Beautiful, and I am thrilled to be here. This is coming back. I'd been here for Playfest before. Sweetwater Taste was read in a Playfest, and it's just wonderful coming back. And I'm so excited about the production.
Great. We're excited to have you here. Let's bring in Stephen. Stephen Jones is the man behind all of the design of our lights and sound. Lights and set. Stephen, welcome. We're glad you're here too. And we love working with you. Stephen has done other things this season and in past seasons. So we're thrilled to have you on this team too.
Thank you. It's such a privilege and a pleasure. So thank you so much.
So let's get into some questions. Let's talk about this play. So Gloria, you called this play a serious comedy. Mm-hmm. And in your playwright's notes about Sweetwater Taste in our program, you posed some questions, some challenging questions that the play really poses as well, about just how wide a net we cast in inclusion, and about how wide should the doors swing open, and are people ready for the various subjects of the play. Tell us about where this play started. Why is it called a serious comedy, and what your message is in 6 words or less. No, as long as you need.
Well, actually, okay, the play really is centered around the Beckford family. So we have Elijah Beckford, who is an African-American iconic figure in this small town, runs a funeral home, has been in the civil rights struggle for many years, and he wants to be buried in the Beckford family cemetery. And Charlie Beckford, it says, the Beckford family cemetery has traditionally been white. Okay, so it's really two sides of of a family. They call themselves cousin, but it's more like joking, and they really haven't addressed who the Beckfords are. And what prompted this, I remember this is quite some time ago, I was watching an Oprah episode show, and there was a family of Thomas Jefferson on, and Sally Hemings was that side of the Jefferson family. The Black Jeffersons were saying, we have a right to be buried at Monticello. And there has been, and even to this day, they have not gotten the right to be buried. And I thought about, wow, this is a conversation that has been decades old. Who's in this family, and who has the rights in this family? So, and I had been involved with a lot of serious plays addressing a lot of things, including race in this country. And so I looked at it and thought, and it started off kind of as a serious play. And then it struck me, this angel came to me, Carrie, and it said she was a sexy 103-year-old angel dressed in slave costume. And she wanted something. And that's what cracked it open. And I said, wow, this is a comedy. And I think sometimes when we look at serious issues and we're able to laugh about them, we're able to take ourselves out of the moment and step back and get a different perspective, maybe we can understand more. So that's what kicked it off, really. The Jefferson, can they be buried in this cemetery? And I began to explore that idea. And obviously it was a passionate idea. As they work through it.
That's wonderful. Thank you. So you mentioned that this play had an early reading in Playfest, right here, our new play festival. Was it the first time it was read? What was the context of that? What did you learn in that process? And where has the play been since?
The play was originally written, and it won a contest called the African Theater Award African American Playwriting Contest competition out of Columbia College in Chicago. And so a student production was done. Chuck Smith, who is an amazing director at the Goodman Theater there, adjudicates the competition. And so it had a student production, and then it went on to have a reading at the Goodman Theater. And immediately afterwards, it came to Playfest. Literally within a month, we were, at Playfest hearing it. And what was delicious about being here was it was a different locale. We were further south, let's put it that way. And a different audience, and just the energy of the Playfest, of other playwrights, all of us being gathered here, was exciting. So that synergy of being with other artists and hearing a work, and also with a very savvy, well-trained audience who understood new plays. And so the feedback was wonderful too. The actors were really strong. And we actually have Avis, who was at that reading. I'm so excited. And my middle name is also Avis. So, I think it may
There's
be
a connection, absolutely.
But Avis, who was in that original reading, which was over 10 years ago, was here. And then it premiered at Southern Appalachian Repertory Theater in North Carolina. Which is, a small town where it's set. And Rita and John have a home and actually drove over. And I felt just absolutely blessed that they came. And then recently, right before COVID, it was at Horizons Theater in Atlanta. So it's interesting that it was written well over 10 years ago. And it's still speaking to us. Sometimes I hope that, depending on what the topics are, that certain plays of mine might, sadly say, go out of fashion, go out of style, not still be relevant. But when we think about what was happening last in this COVID period, as far as Black Lives Matter, as far as George Floyd, as far as the conversation about race in the country now, it still so much speaks to or asks questions that we still need to answer. So it's exciting, and it's exciting that it's a comedy that allows us to ask these questions.
Yes, I agree. And perhaps more relevant now than 10 years ago, even, or more or resonant, perhaps, but also approaching it with humor. The night that I just saw it, in our preview, the audience was howling. It's really, really funny. And I think that that's the way we learn and grow, perhaps. And that's the way we perhaps change with humor, and you have just painted such a beautiful picture for us to portray on our stage. So we're thrilled to have you to be here to see it and give us feedback. Now we gave you feedback at the beginning. Now it's your turn.
And
So,
also, I was going to say also the idea of it being very, very funny, and then for a moment can turn on a dime.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I call it a serious comedy, because the issues are serious and there are moments that can turn very quickly and then turn back and saying, okay, let's look at it from a different point of view.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Absolutely. So, Stephen, when you approach a play like this that is not as well known as some of the other plays that you've done for us, where you probably didn't have background listening to it or knowing the play before you approached it, how do you take this brand new piece to you and approach it? You've done set and lights. Where do you start?
That's such a great question, and I have to say, and this is not anything but honesty, I start with the words that the playwright has penned, and it's so wonderful, obviously, that we have our wonderful playwright here. I'm not just saying that to shine her on; it's the truth. There's such a I listen to the words, and the fact that this is a serious comedy. It evoked emotions and thoughts inside of me that at times made me laugh out loud. And then, as was just mentioned, I turned on a dime. Whoa, the weight of this moment and the meaning behind the words, so potent. It affected me in such a great way. And as a designer and for regional theater and as a storyteller, first and foremost, a visual storyteller, I absolutely adore working on new work. Not to say that I don't enjoy working on classics and things of that nature, but there's such a great excitement to a piece that is fresh, and it gives license, I think, as a visual artist, to begin to craft and carve your own thoughts without having that preconceived notion of, well, this play has always been done this way, so how do I untie that knot so that I can approach it fresh? I don't have to untie that knot. I can really focus more on the playwright's words and the rest of my collaborators as we come together with it.
That's apparent because it's a very thoughtful, it's even a thoughtful lighting design in this play. It's, you really create some moments with your lighting, and you kind of sculpt the set that you've created. What is the benefit to designing both set and lights for a show, just in general?
The benefit is I can only argue with myself when things don't work. No, the benefit, it's interesting. I was actually speaking with one of the amazingly talented members of your staff, our technical director, about this very topic. And from a visual artistry standpoint, there's an old school thought of scenography, where the visual artist controls, designs, creates, whatever verbiage we want to use, sets, lights, costumes, all of those things to try and make it feel as coherent as possible. And I joke and say that I can, only argue with myself, but I often win those arguments because when I design the set, I have light in mind and I know what I'm going to do, and one drives the other and then the other drives the one. And so it allows for, when we get into the rehearsal space with the actors, with the rest of the collaborative team, it allows, I think, for hopefully, and thank you for your kind words, I think it adds to a level of clarity about how we can push ultimately the storytelling in a way that doesn't feel muddied.
Yeah, that's great. And you've done it. And I want to remind anyone who is watching live on Thursday, January 6th, to type a question in the comments below, and we will do our best to get to that question. Gloria, if there were a message or a feeling that you'd like people to leave the theater with after seeing your play without giving anything away, is there something that you can share that's a goal of the experience?
I like that question. It's making me think in the sense of not wanting to give anything away, but also thinking about, I'd like audiences to come and ask themselves, what is family? And what is the American family? Who are we today? And how will we progress in the future? So I guess I'd love for audiences to come to have a good time, bring a friend, maybe bring a friend that you haven't normally, had a chat with, a new friend, and to ask questions and go out with your mask later and have a conversation about who we are as a country, who we are and who we want to become as we move into the next decade.
That's great. I'll do that.
Okay, good. and yes, as I said, plan to go out, eat, and have fun afterwards, because you're going to have fun at the play. And then,
keep the fun going, keep the party going,
right?
And the conversation going. And of course, that's what we want for every play that we do here. We're hoping that we're sparking a conversation, that we're starting a dialogue. And certainly this particular play, because it is a serious comedy, there's definitely a dialogue that should happen. And perhaps, this is a great avenue to inspire that dialogue. So tell us a little bit about the set that you designed for us. Where are we in this play? Where does it takes place in a couple of places with some very kind of simple, beautiful adjustments. What world did you create for us?
Well, what worlds? 3 different worlds, and I don't know if I'm going to give them all away, but I will give.
You don't have to.
But I will give one of them away, which is, I would say, the obvious one. And as a scenic designer and an architect and lover of architecture, one of the worlds is this beautiful plantation home, and I had a lot of fun actually in doing the research, discovering and rediscovering and taking a journey down this idea of what it means to be in a Greek revival plantation style home. And so, as you see in the pictures that are coming up there, I do love research and the shape and the iconic shapes of the doors and the pillars really landed us, I feel, in the bulk where we live for the bulk of the play. And hopefully as an audience, you all discover and get that feeling of the grandeur of the environment, the gorgeous floor that are your incredible scenic charge artist executed as I did the rendering for, and as always, she came out with, and the floor became beyond my expectations. It's a really fantastic, I think, playing space for the environment to take place. I won't give away the other two locations, but I will say, though, that the structure of this play also demands that we are in two different locations on top of this beautiful plantation style mansion. And so the challenge was and is continues to be that suspension of disbelief, that engagement of the imagination and how do we transform through the story that home into something else and into something else as well.
Yeah, yeah. And there's something about the scale that you use for this where automatically you feel that you're in the South. You feel like you're in that stately mansion, and it is it's really fun. You know, of course, for audiences that subscribe to our shows to see, you know, from show to show, the gigantic transformation that we make in our sets, that they see our shows on. But also, just this season, we're lucky because we're experiencing your range of skill and vision for your artistry, not only in the set but in the lights too. But definitely, kind of from show to show, it's fun for me to watch your the different shades, the different sides of your own abilities. So thank you for that. We're certainly the beneficiary of your artistry, and we appreciate you.
I just want to pop in and say kudos, kudos, kudos to Stephen, because as the playwright, sometimes you say, okay, let me see how they're going to do this right now. So just come to see what they do with the set. Because literally there have been times in the writing of it, and I did make some actual little changes just for here. And the time for, but you know, when you're writing it and you're saying, okay, I can imagine this, but then the question is, what genius will come along and actually do this? And so definitely come for the set, because I know I've had people say, okay. So he has cracked that.
He's always up for the challenge.
Yes, truly. And I love the pillars.
Yeah, the
as
pillars
opposed
are
to the
beautiful.
rounded pillars. You've got the Palestine. Yes. Yeah. So I'm excited.
Yes, a lot of homework goes into this this process, from the playwright all the way through the obviously our actors, but the knowing how we're dressing them and where we're putting them and what it's looking like and how the set works with the costumes and how the lighting works with all of that comes together somehow miraculously, and we get so proud of the final piece. So in thinking of the final piece, is there something, without giving it away, for our audience members, from each of you, that you would have our audience members look for? Is there something they should keep an eye out for, to notice or to think about or not to miss? Is there something? We can start with Stephen, because I'll let Gloria have the last word on this. So Stephen, what should we not miss? Those beautiful columns?
Yeah, they're pretty big. I don't know that you can. I don't think you can miss them. Yeah, I would say the floor. You know, from a visual standpoint, don't miss the floor. Just take it in. I think it really is. That would be the thing that I would interject. I would throw out there.
And what's so amazing, Sarah Taylor is our scenic artist, and you know, you look at these floors that she creates that are supposed to be wood, and she is painting that wood on masonite, on a flat, you know, non-wood grain surface, and she really delivers. And this design was very unique. I remember when she started working on it in the shop, and I always come and start looking at her work early in the process because I want to see the transformation. And boy, she is something else. So yes, look at this beautiful wood grain floor. No, it is not wood or grain. but it is pretty special. And Gloria, what do you think? What should we not miss about this show, or what do you hope we don't miss about this show?
Don't miss the show. That's
There we go.
Yes, right. You have to cover the whole thing, because it seems like we're skirting around things that we can't give away. It's like,
We don't want to. The audience won't want us to give it away because it's too fun.
you just have to come. But I think of the language, okay, because in a comedy, but just the language, and okay, you'll understand this once you've come. Don't miss the flower garden.
There we
Is that
go.
enough?
I love it.
Don't miss the flower. Smell the heliconia. Don't miss know that the gardenias are there. And that's a little bitty, don't miss the flowers. Does that make sense?
Stop and smell the flowers. Stop and come and smell the flowers.
Yeah, come and smell the flowers.
Absolutely.
Language.
Yeah, the language is very exciting and certainly surprising in some cases, and very, very funny in many cases too. But it makes you think, as does Sweetwater Taste. And thank you both very much for being here for a little sneak preview of what we have in store for the next 3 weeks at the Orlando Shakespeare Theater. Sweetwater Taste runs until January 22nd. So order your tickets at orlandoshakes.org. We wholeheartedly thank our sponsors, John's Fund and Bloodworth Law, and Orange County Government through their Arts and Cultural Affairs program supporting this production. Don't miss our opening night in-person pre-show talk tomorrow. That's Friday, January 7th at 6:30 p.m. in our patrons room. And Gloria will be there for that as well. And then our cast post-show talk that's happening Sunday, January 16th after the show. After seeing the show, you can talk to the actors who are in it and give them feedback and hear about their process. And please remember to wear your face masks at all times inside the Orlando Shakespeare Theater. Once you get into Orlando Shakes, we're all masked. We're all in our separate rooms today, so we can be unmasked with you. Thanks, everyone, for joining me today for this feature interview. And thank you for watching and learning about Orlando Shakes Sweetwater Taste. We look forward to seeing you at the theater.